be going over configurations of OpenLM. We'll take a look at the basic product of OpenLM, and we'll also install the OpenLM agent and talk a little bit about license harvesting. So let's start off with the base product of OpenLM. What will we see? We will see how to configure the OpenLM server to talk to the license manager. Then we'll install an OpenLM Broker on the license manager and see which benefits we get. After that, we'll install the OpenLM Agent on the workstations as well and have all the triplets here to give us the most information we can get out of the basic OpenLM product. After that, I'm going to jump over to license harvesting and talk a little bit about how you can harvest a license that's currently idling. But okay, let's start with this. Just OpenLM Server sampling remotely a license server. So let's see what we can do. So I have two servers here. One will be my OpenLM server named Win10 Demo, and the other will be my license server. Now, let's first install OpenLM Server. Just double click. Of course, we got to read the whole thing. We click next, create icon, install, and it will take anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes to install. Should be a bit faster on this machine though. Now, I have the OpenLM Broker right here, which I will not install just now. I will wait for the OpenLM server to install. I'll first connect that. We'll see how it connects automatically, and then we'll also take the broker. The last thing that we'll do, we'll also install the agent on my machine. On my workstation, I'll have the OpenLM agent. Okay, so let's go back, and while it's installing, let me explain a bit about what you will be able to get without the broker and what you won't be. So if you try to connect OpenLM directly, you don't use a broker, you just read the port. So the information that you can get is only the information that's been transmitted through the vendor port, like Autodesk 27000, that port. It's streaming out license output. It's streaming out text constantly saying that this user is using that opened at this time. This user is using that from this workstation. So we grab that information in and we got who used it. But we're missing out a lot of details. In a moment, we'll see which ones. First of all, once it's done installing, we just click next, 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 install everything locally. And if this is your first time, you can get a license. Make sure that OpenLM server, that this machine is connected to the internet, because it will go out to the internet and try and get a license based on your email, company, and so on. But I already have a license. So I click here, select File, and click Next. Now it tells us what we are missing if we're not using a broker. For now, let's stay with the basic OpenLM, just connect to a license manager. Then I'm done, finish. Okay, so let's open up the interface, the EasyAdmin interface. We can access it just by typing localhost :7019 EasyAdmin 2. Or of course, just click here. Now, let's close everything up and click Start, Widgets, License Servers. We see it's empty. We don't have any license servers. So what should we do? If we want to have OpenLM connected directly to the license manager and not use the broker at all, then what we'll need is to open OpenLM Server. Now this interface, the configuration interface, allows you to add a new license manager. Let's call it Autodesk. Select the time zone of the license server. We input the host name. So in my case, it's Win8OLM prod. This is where I have my license server, my license manager sitting. And it's port 600. I can click test just to make sure. And yeah, great, we get it. We get the information, but what do we get? We get the features, and we get how many were issued and how many are in use. And if someone is in use, we see it. Great. So let's click OK. Let's leave this unchecked for now and apply. Now going back to the license server screen, we now see my license server right here. It's being monitored remotely, remote sampling. But I'm losing out on a lot of stuff because let's check this test out. Where are the denials? Where are all the rules I have in my license file? Where is the expiration? Where is the reservation that I made for users in my options file? Where is everything? This is why we recommend using a broker, because it gives you the bare minimum. What's going on right now, meaning it gives you the amount you have, what's currently being used. So OpenLM, every 60 seconds, polls that. It asks it, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. Every 60 seconds, it gets the information back. Now, let's think. You're polling every 60 seconds. Great, but let's say you got a session that started and ended within that 60 seconds. You totally missed that session. It's a short session, but you missed it. Let's say you want to see the denials. What happened after user got denied? Well, you missed it. Packaging information, nothing. This is why we strongly recommend to install the OpenLM Broker, because then the whole system is like, okay, you got usage, but it's pointless because it doesn't use the license file, it doesn't use the options file, it doesn't use the whole licensing system. So this is why we recommend a broker. Let's see what we can do in order to, how to install it and what we can do in order to get more information out of our licenses. Okay, I double click the broker on the license server, install. Of course, I read everything, agree, next, next. Let's change this to, I don't know, demo 3 or something. Demo 3, next, next. And takes about, I don't know, 10 seconds to install. And once it's done, it will open up the OpenLM Broker interface. And it now asks us, hey, where is your OpenLM server? Hey, my OpenLM server is Win10 demo. This is where I have that. Next, it will try to connect, successful. And what it's doing now, it's sniffing out the ports. So it's just going port by port and asking it, do you have anything that I know? No. Do you have anything that I know? Hey, you look like FlexLM. And it grabs it and defines it as FlexLM. It just detects it automatically. Now it doesn't detect everything, and sometimes it messes up and doesn't detect like the license file, misses it because it does the best it can. Sometimes sometimes it falls between the chairs, how we say. So Win8OLM prod, this is my license server. This is my OpenLM server. So it's getting information from here, sending information to here. And let's see what we have here. What are we monitoring? I talked about license server, talked about denials, all that. Well, where is it? First of all, If you click on the port, I see port 600, it's a FlexLM, and I see I have a license file here configured. You can also manually configure the license file, but mostly it will find it. And the license file holds expirations. I see that it's permanent. It holds packaging. I see that within this package, I have this feature, this feature, this feature, this feature, all within one package. That tells OpenLM how to behave, because if it doesn't know the packaging information, you'll have double the usage. Why? Because when you pull license, you pull also the package and also the feature. So you need to tell OpenLM, hey, these are part of the package. When one is used, it's just a packet being used. Don't count it as two. And of course, expirations. That's under the port. But if we go to data inquiry, we click execute and we see the exact same thing that we saw here. It's the output. So the broker also monitors that. So we got the license file, we got the output, and we also are monitoring a log file. What is the log file? Let's take a look at it. Let's try to understand what that is actually. So this is the FlexLM log file. It just logs everything that's going on. For example, let me show you here. It's Sagi checked out this package from this workstation. Sagi checked in this package from this workstation. Basically, it holds a list of everything going on in your licensing system. It also holds denials. So how can we get denials if we don't use the broker? Well, we can't. You got to use the broker, which will read the log file that has denials. Only that way you can get the denials. And lastly, options files. Here you see, using just remote sampling, we don't get the options file, we don't get the license file, we don't get anything because we don't have a local representative on the server. If you have a broker, then you do have a local representative. It can access anything on that machine, can touch whatever you want. It's local, it's installed there. So it can also monitor the options file, which an options file, if you know, is a FlexLM file which allows you to reserve licenses to different users. It allows you to exclude users from using licenses, include them, and so on. Basically gives you the rule system for who is able to use what. Okay, now let's restart the broker and see what we need to do in order to now work with the broker, because we have a broker sending data to OpenLM Server. It's grabbing data from here, sending data to here. Great. And it found two ports, 600 and 810. So apply, restart, and let's go back to the broker. In the broker, all we need to do is click use broker and use license file, because we can use the broker, but sometimes we don't need to use the license file on it. Sometimes the license file doesn't mean anything, like with ArcGIS. ArcGIS gives you a license file that's nothing in there, nothing important. So for example, that you don't need a license file. So you have the option to choose. In our case, we need a license file, so let's apply that. Now going here, we see that Autodesk is now configured. It will take a while to get the quantity and the license file, up to like 10 minutes. But that's it, it's configured. You got Autodesk now streaming into your system, and it will streaming to all the reports of OpenLM. Now we got another line here, a red line. What does that mean? That basically means that there is an OpenLM broker sending data to OpenLM Server, but the server doesn't have it configured. So do you want to configure it? Basically it's saying, hey, Win8 OLM prod is sending you information of port 810. So yeah, I do want to prove that. That's my MATLAB port. So I save that, and it configured me the MATLAB port right now. Now this, as I said, will take a while to configure. What I would like to do now is go and set up the agent. So wait, let's back up. What did we do? Basically, first we installed OpenLM Server and connected it to the license server remotely. We saw that we are losing out on a lot of information, so we installed the broker on the license server. But now we want more information. Like, okay, we got the server, we got the broker, nice. But we can also install the OpenLM agent on the end user workstations. So let's say that this is an end user workstation, my workstation. And let's install the agent. So basically there's an installer popping up. We click next. We approve it, of course. And then it gives us an extension list. This extension basically it's trying to find the applications you have on this machine. So I have ArcGIS on this machine and it found it. What does it relate to? It relates to the save and close operations, because OpenLM can save applications and close them if they're idling for too long, meaning I'm an engineer, I got a license, meaning I opened AutoCAD, and now I'm on Facebook, like for the rest of the day. Or I'm using another application, or maybe I went on a meeting. So that license is on my workstation now. Other people can use it, but I'm hogging it for myself and not using it. So it relates to that, because we developed an API which allows the agent to save the work and close the application. It can tell ArcGIS, hey, ArcGIS, can you please save yourself, save your current job and close the application? And ArcGIS says, yeah, no problem for you, anything. It just does that. But it's only for these 5 applications. The rest, we have another method for it. So yeah, it found ArcGIS, no problem, next. If you're using an applications manager, then do that, have that checked, and just install. Now it shouldn't take long to install, a few seconds, but once it's installed, I'll need to switch screens here to show you. Once it's installed here, then you'll have this little icon as an end user. You'll be an end user on your workstation and you'll have this little icon right here. With clicking on it, you will now be able to see license usage information. So let's just configure OpenLM first. So this is our OpenLM server. This is where we connect, Win10 demo. Great. So no data yet. It will take a while. Let me get you to another demo system and we'll see it there. So I have the agent here. Let's open up license usage information and see what it gives us. So I'm an end user. I'm not an admin. I don't have access to OpenLM, and I just work with AutoCAD. I want to know what's going on. I need AutoCAD right now and it's not free. What do I do? So I can just open up this interface and see, oh, I need this application. Currently 5 are used. There are 20, so I can get it, no problem. But let's say that it's full, it's filled up, everybody's using it. So clicking on it shows me who is actually using it and when they started. So I can call them up. I can tell them, hey, I need that application. Can you release the license? Basically, you let the end users sort it out among themselves. You don't have to sort it out for themselves, for them. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's move to the other screen. Now, I'll just explain that again. So right here on this workstation, we got the OpenLM agent. The end user can watch the license usage information using this screen. So as I said before, I got 5 currently using. I got 20 licenses. I got 15 available, so I can use it. Great. But let's say it was full. Then I click here, and I can see who is actually using it. Like Sienna, Yasmin, George. I see all of them using it, meaning that the users can sort it out among themselves, as I mentioned earlier. But what else? What else do we need? What else do we want? We want added functionalities. Okay, so first of all, what you've seen just now, the license usage information screen, you already have that. You have OpenLM, doesn't matter which OpenLM, you have this. You have this feature, you don't need to buy it, it's free, it's embedded, just go ahead and do it. You can roll the OpenLM agent, you can roll it out to the workstation using SCCM, using your GPO, using a silent rollout. So it's real simple. You don't have to go workstation by workstation. You already have this. This is a part of the basic product of OpenLM, just like you can install the broker and download the broker and install it, no problem, no questions asked. Also the agent, you get this functionality. But let's talk about more. Let's talk about actually handling those licenses, those sessions, because up until now, we're monitoring that. We're monitoring the broker. We're giving the users a bit that they can monitor themselves, and everything is being sent to OpenLM Server for monitoring. But let's talk about idle times. Let's say that the user is not actually using the application. Let's go back to my demo system and let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm gonna just open AutoCAD and I'm not gonna do anything with it. I'm just gonna let it idle. Once it's idling, the agent will know that I'm not using it. Now, how will it know that? It takes a look at the CPU usage, memory usage, and space, meaning I/O operations, write, read operations per second. And you define a threshold, and if the consumption goes over that threshold, that means the application is used. Meaning, let's say you got an application, and currently it's running like, I don't know, it's running a simulation or something. It's really heavy. It's taking up a lot of resources, a lot of CPU. Doesn't matter if you're using it currently or if it's a simulation using it. Doesn't matter. The application is now being loaded. So the OpenLM agent sees that and says, okay, he's being used. The application is now being used. The license is well utilized. But if someone doesn't use it, then the agent knows that it dropped below the threshold, and it can notify the admin. So let's go check it out. Open up my demo system right here, and I'll click here on Autodesk Development. This is me, this is my usage, just to show you what the agent can do. So yeah, this is my usage coming from the broker, everything, all this is coming from the broker. I also got the duration, everything. The only thing that's coming from the agent is, first of all, the IP, and secondly, idle times. I'm like 2 seconds idle. It takes about 1 minute to start being idle, but I'm like 2 seconds idle. Meaning I'm not touching the application, I'm not doing anything. This will rise and rise every minute. So there are a few things we can do with it. You see, 1 minute. I can even click on the idle times and see the idle duration, when I dropped, periods, and so on. But okay, this is wasting a license. We gotta do something with it. Okay, so probably you'll go to his workstation and close his workstation or release the license, or I don't know. Let's say He's in China. You can't reach him. You can't do anything. Is just an anonymous end user. You don't know where he's from even. You don't know how to call him. Even if you do, maybe it's the middle of the night. Nothing for you to do. You have a large organization. So you can either just click here, close app, and you will close his session remotely. So let's just keep it here, view it, and it will close in about a minute automatically because I clicked close app. But let's say that you're not there. Let's say, I don't know, you're on vacation. It's outside your working hours. You're just not there to click it. So you can set up OpenLM to automatically do it. If someone is idling for too long, cut his session. You can just close his application, save his work, of course, and close his application. Now you can also suspend his application, like suspend the application and release the license in the background, meaning check it back in. Once the user wants to use it, he clicks the OpenLM agent and the license is taken back, it's checked out back. So we saw here the OpenLM agent closing my application. It even saved my project. So if I want to keep working, I just click here, open, and that's it. But how do we configure it? We're talking about let's configure OpenLM. Not let me sell you OpenLM, but let's configure it. Let's go to the administration. Okay, sorry, right here. Let's go to start, administration, process features. Now, process features right here, it shows us a few applications and their process name, meaning that AutoCAD applications, all AutoCAD applications, doesn't matter which version, which license type it uses, doesn't matter. When you load it up on the machine, the process, the task of it is ACAD, acad.exe. So here we're pretty much matching it and saying whenever you find process ACAD starting up, know that it's AutoCAD, know that it's a part of this vendor, and it will hold all these features. Meaning we're getting the data taken from the broker, all these. We're getting the data taken from the agent, the process itself, and we're combining it into just one data set that holds the process, the feature, everything. Once we can combine that, we have the data from the agent and the broker combined together, then we can start playing around. How do we do that? Let's just double click on AutoCAD right here. Just double click. It opens this up. So what is enabled here? What is this? This enables idle time tracking, and it will start defining something as idle after, let's say, 1 minute. Now, you can enable the automatic license release, as I've said, but it's a bit more sophisticated than that. You can say, okay, everybody that has idle time of more than 60 minutes, clear his license, close his application. Or you can say, if my license is stressed, meaning that, I don't know, I have 100 licenses and currently 99 users are using it. I got one license left, meaning that it's about to be maxed out. Do something. Well, in that case, you can say, okay, start releasing licenses after 99%. Yeah, but whose licenses? Whoever has idle time of over 60 minutes. Meaning that if the license is stressed, you need licenses now. Then start releasing licenses to whomever is not using the license and he did get it. He did get it. It's about 1 hour he didn't use it. Come on, I need it back. The licenses are stressed. Now here we decide what we want to do with it. Now extension, is only for ArcGIS, SolidWorks, MATLAB, and Autodesk. And it saves and closes because it uses an API that we developed that talks kindly to the application and asks it, hey, can you please save and close? Now we can also use suspension. Suspension basically releases the license and then suspends the application so the user will not able to access it. And the license is released back in the pool. Once the user wants to access, simply clicks a button, gets it back, providing there's a license, of course. Okay, so we saw that in action. We saw that actually close our session based on what I told it. I told it to close, but we closed AutoCAD right here. What about applications which are not listed in the broker data? What about applications which do not use a license manager, which uses a license manager that we don't support? Or maybe it's just a standalone license, like Photoshop, for example. You want to track Photoshop usage. Then how can you do that? Using another extension called Unmanaged Processes. So we talked about process features, which handles licenses from license managers, which handles floating licenses coming from license managers, basically. But you've got unmanaged processes, unmanaged, no license managers, they're unmanaged. Here you can define a new process to monitor. So let's say, just as an example, that I want to monitor Notepad. So I have Notepad++ open. And let's get the task right here. Brian, I only seen one screen, currently consumed licenses, this entire description. Guys, if you cannot see any change on my screen, please let me know if you're having issues seeing my screen. Okay, so basically what's going on now is I'm showing you the process that we're about to monitor. So we want to monitor, in this case, Notepad. So it's notepad++.exe. This is the application that we want to monitor. It doesn't have a license manager, it doesn't have anything. So let's go to Unmanaged Processes again. Let's add a vendor. Let's call the vendor Notepad Supplier. Let's add a feature, Notepad++. That's the feature name. Process was Notepad++. .exe, but we don't take the .exe in. So let's save it. And double click on Notepad. And we get basically the same thing. The same interface. A few differences though. First of all, here you can set the quantity of licenses because this is an unmanaged application. We have no idea how many you have spread across. If it's a floating license or a license manager managed application, then we do know. We get it from the license manager. It tells us, hey, you've got 10 licenses. We write it down. You've got 10 licenses. Great. We get it from the license file as well. But an unmanaged application, we don't know how many AutoCAD you have. We don't. Adobe you have. We don't know. So you set this up. Now here we have the same thing. Idle time. It starts tracking the idle time after 1 minute of being idle. And here you can also define if it's over like 99%, the license is stressed, and start releasing licenses of everybody who's using, I don't know, 10 hours idle time. Now there's one thing that we can set here, not three, just procedure. Now we don't have a procedure here. Let's go create it. So first of all, we'll just save it. We'll go back to administration, start administration, and we'll go to agent procedures. Click add. And let's call it agent kill. Add action. And we have a few action here. We can kill the application, suspend the application, or just run a custom command, a CMD script. Okay, and let's select agent kill. Okay. Now we have that agent that will kill our application if it's idling for too long. So going back here, we'll select procedure and select agent kill, the procedure we just created. Now, if it's over 0 and the idle time is over a minute, then start releasing licenses, just for testing purposes. So now let's go back to the server screen, hit refresh, and we see this Notepad supplier. It's an unmanaged application. We got 10 licenses of it, and we have one used. Who's that guy? That's me. You see me using it. It found my IP, my workstation, my username. Basically everything is the same as if it was a floating license. It looks like it's coming from the license manager, right? It has all the same information, but it's not. It's coming from the agent. Only the agent has that data, and it's transmitting the same information, so the data set will be the same. Now I have this idle time right here. It's giving me 1 minute of idle time. I probably touched it, so it went to 0. And the idle time will start rising and rising, and it will kill my application as well, automatically. And that's it. Once you have that in the OpenLM database, then it's indistinguishable in all the reports. Like all the reports are filterable. You can filter this out. You just select it as a license server. Let me show you in a demo system right here. So even when I select, let's select license activity, and I'll select my Notepad++ here. I don't know, get a date range and apply. And I get the data as if it is a floating license, doesn't matter. It just tells me that it's not. Tells me license type, unmanaged. But everything else is the same. The data sets are the same. Everything is the same. And if you look below, you see that it killed my AutoCAD. Just flat out killed the process. Now there are many things that you can do with it. Yeah, you can pop up a message on the screen saying that, hey, you've been idling for too long. Please don't idle. You can run a custom command to just close his computer. You can do whatever you want. It's very flexible, especially with custom commands where you can run just a CMD script and then you have control over the system. And that's basically it. So what did we go over today? We went over the basic OpenLM configuration. We saw the OpenLM server and how it's able to just remotely sample. We installed the OpenLM Broker and we saw how we can get more information into the OpenLM dataset, meaning licenses, expirations, reservations, denials, not just used and amounts. And lastly, with the basic product, we saw the OpenLM Agent, which you can roll it out, and then the end users have an interface that they can view. So each component gives you more visibility, either to you as the admin or as the end user. Then we continued talking about the agent and mentioned license harvesting. License harvesting, as you've seen, basically it's just getting an idle license back into the license pool. So we talked about actual usage, which basically tracks the amount of idle time per application. And we talked about active agent, which basically closes an application which was idle for too long. And lastly, we talked about unmanaged processes as well, which doesn't even require a license manager, as you see here. It gets all the information from the OpenLM agent. So that's pretty much it for me. I think it's a lot for one day. I went over most of the configurations of the basic OpenLM and some of extended functionalities. We have much more functionalities to work with, a lot of functionalities relating to the agent as well, but this you will see in another webinar regarding the end users. So if you have any questions, go ahead. This is your time. Ask any questions you'd like. Let me know if you want me to show something, talk about anything. Go ahead. You can use the go to webinar questions box. There's like a little questions chat box you can use to ask. I'll be happy to help. But if not, if this is enough for you, then thank you very much for joining me on this webinar today. I really hope it was informative. I hope you learned something new about OpenLM that you didn't already know. And if you have any more questions, just go to our website. Under About Us, you'll see Contact Us. Feel free to contact us via email. You can call us up using one of these numbers. You can just click here and you get to the OpenLM chat. You get to chat with one of our support engineers. That's like the fastest way to get to us. And that's it. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Oh, Brian, I see you had a lot of issues there. Okay, I see that I've had some technical issues with Brian. I really hope I didn't have that with all of you guys. And Brian is still seeing the agent assign screen. Okay, that's a little funny, I guess. How about now? Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for the praises. I love doing these webinars. Richard, everything looks fine. Great. If you want to let me know, ask me anything, just go ahead. Want me to show anything, how to configure anything? Okay. Oh. Oh, great. Thanks, Jeff. Great. Then have a great day, guys. If you're in the US, then have a great morning. Let us know if you need anything. We'll be happy to help. Just send us an email. Probably know already. Okay. Bye, guys.